Hello, hello. How are we doing? Good. All right. Fire away.
Ben, when you look at the last 2 weeks, obviously you guys got off to a hot start the first 4 games. Not so much last two, haven't scored a touchdown. Is there a common theme that you see the last 2 weeks beyond just the turnovers, or is that the biggest thing you think the last 2 weeks that's been slowing you guys down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the turnovers were the biggest story of the game for us offensively last week. I know in the first half we obviously didn't score a touchdown that we were hoping to get done. And then second half we had opportunity to do that and didn't pull through. But no, I think it really comes down to formulating our game plan and executing it at the end of the day. We haven't changed our process. We haven't changed our week of preparation. We have been consistent with that. And so just because we've had some stumbling blocks along the way, we're really not going to change what we do per se in terms of getting ready for the game. So it's business as usual for us, and we're keying in on the areas that we've fallen short over the last few weeks. Ball security obviously is a big part of that. We've already touched on third downs need to get better. Short yardage needs to get better. And then we've got to get it down in the red zone. We've been a good red zone team when we do get it down there, but we got to continue to get that done.
This offense, led by the head coach, has been pretty aggressive in its approach. You guys had nearly 2 minutes and 3 timeouts at the end of the first half. How much of your personnel dictated your decision to try to run out the clock in that situation?
I believe that drive started on the -5. I think that had something to do with it, just where we were. I don't want to speak for coach, but there's a time that momentum plays a factor as well. We hadn't exactly moved the ball up and down the field that game. And so I think when we got the ball with that amount of time, I know we got the timeouts. If we would have popped one of those runs and made it a little bit more favorable field position, I'm sure we would have become a lot more aggressive quickly. And we came very close. We came very close to do that. They were in pass rush mode. I mean, heck, I think they had 90, their defensive end in as a 3 technique. And so we were trying to take advantage of that while still being smart and not allowing them to get the ball back. But we were ready to flip over to aggressive mode if the situation presented itself.
The offense was so high-flying the first 4 weeks, right, scoring a lot of points, and obviously the touchdowns haven't been there the last 2 weeks. How much, if any, of that do you think is due to other teams having a book on what you guys do now? I mean, is that part of it at all, that they've caught up to the offense in some
Yeah,
ways?
I think every unit, offense, defense, but I think every unit has tendencies that they develop. We take a lot of pride in self-scouting ourselves and taking a look at what the defense is doing and potentially looking to exploit on us, and what they're practicing. So we mix it up. I think it would be difficult to say that any defense we've faced so far has actually practiced a play that we've ran in the game. Certainly not identical to how we've ran it in the game. We have a lot of variety. We're very multiple. That's at our core, and we want to continue doing that. So I don't believe that defenses are being able to catch up to us, but for us offensively, it comes down to execution.
Last week, Dan had talked about it was maybe a little more conservative game plan just based on who you guys were playing. I don't know if that was the case against New England too. As you look back, I mean, is that part of it too, right? Like maybe you just open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I mean, I'd love to score 50 points every game, but that's not always the best way to win a football game. And so a few weeks ago, we talked about a head coach having the vision for how the game's going to be played. And so we all play a part. All the coordinators, all the coaches, all the players, we all play a part to bring that vision to life. And so, sure, last week might have been a little bit more run-oriented, and we were in it until the turnovers started happening.
How do you help Jared when he gets into bad habits? He admitted that last week. How do you help get him out of that?
Yeah, it's that's a good question, because right now I know there's a lot of talk about that going on, and he's been very candid, I think, about that as well. Here's what I would say is the only way to fix any issue is recognizing that there is a problem. And he's done that. He acknowledges the fact that he's turned the ball over too many times. He acknowledges the fact that his pocket presence can be better. So once that happens, now we can work on finding solutions. And starts with practice, putting him in situations that are tough, challenging looks, so that his reaction on game day is what we need it to be. And so we're starting there this week, and as we have really every week. But once again, these things pop up, these problems pop up all over the place over the course of the season, and it's just how quickly can we fix them and improve them, not just with Jared, but for the offense as a whole.
I think a lot of people were expecting you guys to probably be one of the more play-action-heavy teams in the league so far this season. Kind of an exactly league average rate. Is there a reason that you haven't leaned on that more heavily?
Probably situation a little bit. You know, I think when you look at, I would imagine the fourth quarter of some of these games, we've gotten away from the play-action game to a degree. But as you guys know, we take our starting point is the run game. And because of that, on first and second down, the play action game plays a major role for what we're trying to do.
Kind of ruin the surprise if you force it a little bit?
If the play action game's not good, then running the ball generally is. So I think they complement each other.
And it looks like Swift is trending toward getting back. Amon-Ra, looks like he could be back Sunday too. Just the excitement level of getting those two guys back in particular, just because of the matchup weapons they can really be for you.
Oh yeah, there are issues for defensive coordinators. So the quicker we can get both of those guys to full health, the better off we're going to be, and we'll get back to where we started the season for sure. Because both of those guys, you get the ball in their hands and they're dynamite. So we'll use all the guys that are available as we've been doing, and continue to highlight what they do best.
When you do have Swift versus when you don't have them, do you see a drastic difference in the defense at all, or is that hard to?
I haven't noticed so far. Yeah, within 6 games, haven't noticed. Just we had them for the first 2, and then really haven't had them since then. So it's been first 2 or 3, right? And then but no, I haven't seen that yet. Be interesting to see when he does come back how that plays out.
I think maybe a favorite topic over on this side is the deep passing game. 1 attempt, no completions of 20 yards down the field in the last 2 losses. The absence of that, again, personnel driven, schematically countering what your opponents are doing, but how much is it hindering your explosiveness overall on offense by not being able to take or connect on those shots?
Yeah, I think the explosiveness is a big point that you're making. First half, last game, we didn't have any explosives by our standards. And that's not for lack of trying. We had a plan of attack to generate them, and we didn't quite get it done. But I don't know that necessarily the 50-yard bombs are the most consistent way to generate explosives, but I think we all saw in training camp what our quarterback and our receiving corps is capable of in terms of throwing the ball down the field. So it's just a matter of time, and we got to continue to rep it, continue to practice it with the guys that we have available, and I think it's a matter of time before we start connecting on some of those.
The lack of even trying, downfield passing, does that, I guess, take away some spacing on what you can do underneath? Just not keeping defenses honest, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just because the ball doesn't travel down the field doesn't mean we're not trying to get it to go down the field. Yeah, we're selective in when we try to dial up some of those plays. Some weeks more than others. But yeah, I think it is important to challenge teams down the field. There's no doubt about it, because you'll see a number of teams in this league, they'll play single high safety, and once a single high safety starts getting involved in the run game, that's when you know, holy cow, they're not respecting us at all. We got to avoid that.
A little bit yesterday, but they've got a really good cornerback out over on the other side, obviously Xavier this week. What is the balance that you have to you see some teams not want to challenge a cornerback at all, but not ignore that side of the field in the game plan either, I guess. Not give him too many opportunities.
Yeah, as part of the game plan process is receivers, the quarterback, they know we study man coverage. What are the defenders strong at? What are their weaknesses? How can we attack them? So we're very aware. We may have one-way plays in a game plan if we know it's a right corner versus a left corner to attack that particular player. So yeah, we're very aware of what guys do well, what they don't do well. Doesn't mean we're necessarily scared off of anybody, or we have been this year, but we try to generate ways to attack them. Yeah, that's for sure.
Miami's defense when you started preparing for them?
Oh, man. Extremely well coached, fundamentally sound. I think up front, this might be the most stout run defense we faced all season. They're big guys. They play more base defense than what we've seen. A lot of teams have played nickel primarily, but they like to play base defense, and their big guys have shown so far this year to be difficult to move. They play with good pad level. They shed blocks. They're around the ball. Last week we saw a penetrating front. This front is less so. They're more read and react, but they are excellent at the jobs that they're asked to do. So run game wise, we got our work cut out for us. And then in the pass game, this guy calls every coverage. Coach Boyer does a phenomenal job mixing it up. Makes it very uncomfortable for opposite play caller or a quarterback to develop a rhythm. So we gotta have a great sound plan at the end of the day with the number of defenses he has at his ready.
Ben, I wanted to ask about Jamal. When he has, an error like he had, a fumble at a critical moment, I'm just wondering what his reaction has been, and especially for a player that's been sure-handed.
Yeah, I know. He's been one of the most steady and consistent guys that we've had on offense, most dependable. So it was a surprise to see not one turnover, but then we had another one on the ground early in the game too. He takes a lot of pride of taking care of that football, and so something that he's looking at, and he'll get fixed this week. But I don't think it affected his play before or after those plays.